Welcome back to the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. I'm Colin.
I'm Craig.
And we don't have that other guy today with us. But Craig and I are in the same room again, recording this. And we're going to be talking about the NFL free agency period, which happened 3 months ago. Or about 3 months ago.
It's like free agency, trades, I guess the draft, sort of.
But in our typical fashion, we're months late, as usual. So we thought it'd be fun to talk about some of the stuff, the big changes that happened during the free agency period, and how that apparently affected the NFL schedule making. Because I keep on seeing videos on NFL.com talking about how Aaron Rodgers changed the schedule makers.
Well, yeah, no one's going to put like Zach Wilson versus Patrick Mahomes on Sunday night.
So I guess let's talk about the Jets, because everyone thinks they won free agency because they got Aaron Rodgers. And I guess the Packers have this ability to make their quarterbacks unhappy. Their management just has this undying ability to do that, and they did that with Favre.
Well, Favre was different, right? Favre was like being wishy-washy. He retired.
Yeah, Favre's different. But it's kind of the same situation, but it's not, because they wasted a first-round pick on Jordan Love to replace Rodgers when they're in their Super Bowl window. They just came off of an NFC Championship loss where their defense got destroyed.
Ran over.
It was like almost 300 rushing yards they gave up. Something insane like that.
Almost like a record.
Yeah, something insane like that. And you go ahead and your first-round pick, you get a quarterback. I don't think Rodgers did win the MVP that year, I believe.
No, because that was the 2019 season.
That was Lamar.
Yes, and he won in 2021.
Yeah, so this guy sits behind Rodgers. Rodgers wins an MVP. He wins another MVP. And it's like the Packers are in this bad situation where, well, we have this guy we wasted a first-round pick on. And Rodgers isn't really committing. He wants to go in his dark retreat in a room and whatnot.
Also, too, I think they want Jordan Love to do it because it makes them look bad, makes them look stupid and incompetent.
Well, they are stupid and incompetent.
Yes, but they don't want people to know that yet. They're trying to hide the fact that they're incompetent. That's what they're really like. Because I think they gave Jordan Love an extension already.
Yeah, I think I did see that. Oh, that was close. Anyway. So Rodgers went on his retreat. He said he was going to retire, or his mind was mostly leaning towards that. And the Packers just didn't want to talk to him. They already made up their mind. And then after a long bout, they finally traded him because the Packers did not have the leverage they thought they did.
But unfortunately, with the Jets owner, Woody Johnson, caved and gave in to the Packers' ridiculous demands.
Yeah, they honestly should have just let the Packers hang out to dry. I know they want him there during OTAs and whatnot, but it's just kind of silly, you know?
Yeah, because
they don't have the leverage.
Yeah, because the Packers were like, I'm going to get that extra first-round pick for a guy who may only play 1 year, which it's a bad trade for the Jets. I mean, unless they win the Super Bowl or make a Super Bowl, it's going to be a bad trade because you're trading a lot for a guy who's not going to be there long. Rodgers
is turning 40 this year. He's turning 40 in December. And maybe he plays another year after this. He's not like Brady, where Brady said he always wanted to play till 45. Rodgers seems like he actually has a personal life, unlike Brady.
Does he, though?
I don't know. It seems like he golfs and whatnot. I don't know. He seems like he's more content with leaving the game than Brady was.
Well, yeah. That's true. Just I don't know if he has a bit more personal life, because I don't think he does, but it's besides the point.
Yeah. So everyone's been crowning the Jets the off-season champions, and as NFL history knows, anytime a team wins the off-season, they don't win anything.
Also, NFL history, the Jets are cursed.
The Jets are bad. So the other day I saw a stat that said the Jets have not won their division. Oh no, they've won their division twice since the NFL merger, which was in 1970. They've won their division 2 times from 1970 to 2022.
Over the years, I know one of them was 2002.
One of them was 2002 because that's when the Patriots missed the playoffs. I think the other one was like in the 80s or 90s.
Maybe it was the 80s. I think it was the Parcells.
No, 90s.
90s.
Bottom line, the Jets are losers. They're historic losers. And to think that they not only can win their division, because they're not better than the Bills. They're not better than the Dolphins when they're healthy. They haven't beat the Patriots since 2015. So it'll probably be another Broncos situation. Everyone last year thought the Broncos were going to be like competitive or good, and then
the people were picking the Broncos to win the division last year. The people were saying they're going to
yeah, because they're not better than the Chiefs. They're better than the Raiders. I'll give them that. That's the only leeway they on a good day.
Last year, or
going into last year, I would say they're better than the Raiders, but now
they weren't.
Yeah, now they're not apparently. But yeah, they have a long uphill battle.
Well, that to me is just the thing. Like the Jets, they're obviously going to be better without Zach Wilson, but they don't play in an easy division. Any one of those 4 teams can take the division. I even think the Patriots can, even though that's not a popular opinion. I think the Patriots can easily get it. And they're playing the tougher conference, where you still got the Chiefs and you still got the Bengals running around, and there's aren't going to be easy teams to beat. So I don't know why people are crowding them. Like, sure they could contend, but I
know Rodgers. I think did he want to go to the Jets, or they were trying to ship him off to the Jets without his like?
I think the Jets were the only team all that interested, but also I think the Packers are just dead set on only an AFC team because...
I was going to say, I'd be curious. I don't know why Rodgers in his right mind would go to the AFC. The NFC is the weaker conference right now. The AFC is filled with powerhouses. So it wouldn't make any sense if he had a choice to go to the Jets, but, what do we know? It could have been...
Because I remember,
had a choice.
I heard that the Niners called the Packers asking to trade for Rodgers, I think, before the 2019 and 2020 season. And apparently the Packers laughed and hung up the phone. Because I don't think they want to trade him to an NFC team. It's like, same thing with Favre, they still fear him. It's not like Donovan McNabb, where they show how little respect they have for you when they trade you to your divisional opponent.
Yeah, that's true. Imagine the Niners with Rodgers.
They would have won the Super Bowl.
They would have been really good. Talk about a complete team, the Niners.
Or maybe you would have been struck by the Niners quarterback curse and horrifically injured, and Jimmy G has to come back.
Yeah, which we'll get to that handsome man. So
Italian
basically,
stallion.
the biggest headline of the NFL offseason so far has been the Jets. It's everywhere. Like I said, there are videos talking about how that affected the schedule making, because now they have a ridiculous amount of primetime games. Even though the only primetime games they have gotten in the past 10 years were Thursday night games. Or the occasional Monday night.
Yeah, because the contractual obligation, every team has to have 2 primetime games.
I think it's only 1.
I know it's there's a minimum they have to reach.
And then that's when remember 10 years ago there'd always be at the Thursday night games with the
Jags Titans.
Jags and Titans. It was their one.
Yeah, well, throw you at the end of the year. No one cares.
So a lot of quarterbacks moved. First and foremost, Matt Ryan was cut. He is gone. Terrible nightmare that was that tenure for a year for the Colts. He is gone.
Rip and pepperoni.
Yeah, rest in peace, Matt Ryan. You will not be missed. I don't want to harp on them too much, but it's amazing how this man, under his resume, has the 2 biggest collapses in postseason in NFL history. That is wild. That is unheard of. The man is cursed.
I know that's a lot of bad luck to have that happen to you, but at some point
it's not a coincidence.
Yeah, when it starts to happen to you multiple times, I know I could blame Dan Quinn. I still remember that Niners Falcons game where
he was just being stupid.
Yeah, that to me is I would never hire you ever again as an NFL head coach if you make that decision. But so about Dan Quinn.
Yeah. So Matt Ryan's gone. We have Brady retired apparently.
Oh yeah, I don't believe that for a second. I think he'll find a way to play again. I do not believe him for a second. He has nothing else going on with his life. He kicked his family out of his life. All he wants to do is play football, and I think he will find a way to play football through the Raiders.
Yes, because apparently, I guess let's talk about the Raiders now. They got rid of Derek Carr. They unceremoniously got rid of him. He didn't deserve what he got.
I still think it's for end of the year. They basically locked him out of the building the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, they sat him. Listen, he didn't play well at all.
No, they didn't just sit him. He couldn't come into the building.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though, that they got rid of him, essentially, this last 2 weeks. He didn't deserve that. He was always the most optimistic person in that franchise.
Yeah,
Not saying he was good. I hate the way he throws his deep balls. But
right, he was your starting quarterback for almost 10 years.
He didn't deserve that. And I think that was definitely all McDaniels, because I doubt Mark Davis would do that.
No, and then
it was all McDaniels, because he wants his guys.
Yeah, he wants to rebuild the Patriot way in Las Vegas, which he'll probably fire in the next 2 or 3 years, assuming they can afford to fire him.
Yes, that's another big problem with the NFL coaches. They sign these massive contracts and they get fired after a year or two.
Yeah, because I think Goodell was like saying stop doing this because there's so much dead money and like paying out coaches. Yeah. That's why they sell McDaniels. Sorry, Raiders fans, you're stuck with them for a few years.
Josh McDaniels, who lost to Jeff Saturday in his coaching debut in less than a week of prep.
How embarrassing!
Talk about embarrassing on that. So the Raiders got Jimmy G, who's only good for 8 games a year, and then he gets hurt.
If they're not better, they're a better looking team.
Yes, they are a very good looking team now. They have that Italian stud. But now there's some drama going on.
He might not play.
Yeah, he might not play. He hasn't been cleared yet, correct?
Something with like he had foot surgery, right?
Yeah, something like that. Why they would even take a gamble on that in the first place, they must have been so desperate.
Well, the thing too is like they had Jared Stidham, who looked okay the few games he played.
Another Patriots guy.
Yeah, but they let him run off to Denver. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, at least sign that guy too, in case because Jimmy G is going to get hurt.
It's not a matter of if; it's a matter of when.
Yes.
So he might not even play. So then that's where your theory probably comes true. Where Tom, who's already a minority owner of the
hasn't
Raiders,
been approved yet, but I think because I've been because people don't know about this stuff. But I was like listening to other like pundits, and they were talking about if Brady does become a part owner, which he probably will get passed, but to play you have to get owner's approval too.
Oh, like unanimous?
No, it has to be I think majority, so 3/4. So I think 24 owners have to vote yes.
Patriots aren't going to do that, I can imagine.
Maybe Robert Kraft will. I don't know, but the Chiefs, the Broncos, and the Chargers are all going to say no.
Yeah, probably Jim Irsay too.
Maybe I can imagine the Jets might say no just because scarred by him. Maybe the Bucks will say no. Who knows? But
maybe the Steelers. The Steelers should. They've been owned by Brady.
Giants say yes because the Giants will beat the Raiders if Tom Brady plays.
You think so?
They played him this year.
Oh, that's right.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't think he keeps trying to say he's officially retired, but he also doesn't do a good job of like putting it to bed. Like he'll toy with maybe I am retired. He's toying with the idea.
Listen, he's going to be a 46-year-old man by the time I believe his birthday's in August. I think he turns 46 in August.
I wouldn't know. He looks 35 to me.
That is unnatural. The fact that no one's questioning it is a little. It's as they say, as the kids say, there's something rotten in Denver. It's a Shakespeare reference.
It's a Shakespeare reference?
Well, the thing is, there's something rotten in Denmark.
Oh.
Denver sounds funnier. Point is, something's fishy there. There's no way a 46-year-old man can play in the NFL now. I don't care how well he takes care of his body. I don't care if he doesn't eat strawberries. I don't care that he stretches every day.
But
I don't care if he drinks an unholy amount of water.
He reduced the stress in his life by removing his family.
That's right. All I'm saying is, there's no way there's not an irrelevant. You know what I'm trying to say. There's no way.
Yeah, and the Raiders, I think you should stick a fork in them now because they are trying to score over Josh Jacobs. Yes. The only good player on their offense.
Well, Devontae Adams.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. But he will probably want out. They trade for him, basically lie to him, and then probably going to run him out of town because Josh McDaniels only wants his guys. I'd stick in the fork in the Raiders already. I can't imagine them doing too well. Mainly because of McDaniels.
McDaniels is a good offensive coordinator. He's not a good head coach. This man had a 6-0 start in Denver. Proceeded to go 2-8 in his last 8 games.
Yeah,
10 games.
Yeah.
He was fired midway through his second season in Denver.
He drafted Tebow.
He did draft Tebow. And he's just not a good head coach. Some people just don't have it. And I think he still probably thinks he can coach, but he just can't.
Well, the best part too is that he's young, so you can always say, well, maybe he learns.
Yeah, he clearly didn't learn when he spurned the Colts. He clearly didn't learn that.
Maybe spurned the Colts. Because I really think people they had to been thinking to fire him last year because he was just getting downright embarrassing for the Raiders.
I think that I saw articles saying that Well, you were talking about they can't fire him because there'd be so much dead money. Like they literally couldn't afford to fire him
because they had to get rid of Gruden. So could have kept Bisaccia, but no, got to go after the big name and cost the team.
So the other big news in terms of quarterback is now Derek Carr is on the Saints. Don't really care for that. Baker Mayfield, who infamously trashed Daniel Jones, is now on his 4th team.
Browns, Panthers, Rams, and the Bucks, and he's looking terrible in OTAs.
Yeah, I don't trust those OTA reports though, because everyone was saying Mahomes looked downright terrible his first OTA. You gotta take it with a grain of salt, I guess.
But true. But I think as a veteran,
yes,
you shouldn't be looking that bad.
Yeah, that's true. Someone who's been passed around like him, he's on the Bucks now. Is he even going to start?
There's an open quarterback competition, but I have to imagine like if he doesn't win this, like this is it for him.
Yeah,
he's not going to get a starting job anywhere else. Like he can maybe be a backup.
Oh yeah, easily.
But I'm not sure he's going to start anywhere else if he loses this.
So the other news: the Commanders got rid of Carson Wentz. I don't even know who they have. Is that Howell guy?
Yeah, and they have Jacoby Brissett.
Brissett, that's right. What's his name? Taylor Heineke is now in the Falcons, I believe.
Him and his giant shoe collection.
Yeah.
Although he doesn't matter. Like he was a backup.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to compete to start, but I think he's 30.
He's old, but also like he's terrible. But the rookie they drafted is somehow even worse. So there's a good chance he could start most of the games next year.
Yeah, he's probably going to get the nod because of his veteran status.
Well, to me, it's not even that. It's the fact that I was watching like that rookie play, and he looks so bad. You can see he is a rookie. I get it, but it does not inspire confidence.
Yeah, he doesn't look too good. Trying to think of other big changes. Your boy Daniel Jones got signed.
Yes. People were talking about the money. I'm like, well, the NFL. It's not the NFL's GM's job. It's not like the money affects me. They'll figure out the salary cap. It's not like they signed him to $50 million.
Yeah, I mean. He does have a playoff win under his belt. I think he has just as many as Kirk Cousins.
Yep, with less tries. Because people were making a big deal when he signed it, but now like he's like out just the top 10 or outside the top 10, then quarterback money. It's getting paid like where he should be getting. That's just the market. That's how he's going to get paid. It doesn't like people are complaining like it doesn't affect you. Like you're not managing the salary cap.
Trying to think of other big news.
Well, listen, if we go back to the Giants, they traded for Darren Waller, a move media experts seem to love, but
Well, he doesn't play either. He's usually hurt now.
That's why I'm not as big of a fan on it. Like, he has to stay healthy for this to work out. Like, I know it's only a 3rd-round pick and whatever, but if he doesn't play, well, it's not really worth it then, is it?
I guess not.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other big news. Brock Purdy got hurt, so now they have to... The Niners signed Sam Darnold.
Yes.
And now they're trying, or what's his name? Trey Lance is competing now, but it's sad that this guy...
There are people trying to trade for Trey Lance, or like some of the Niners are trying to dump him.
Well, they probably know. Like, you spend this 1st-round pick on this guy...
Multiple.
Who's a project. Yeah, multiple. Who didn't even really play in college. He played like not even a full year, and then he sat out the other year, and still was drafted in the 1st-round pick, or in the 1st round. Even when he did play, he didn't look good.
And no small sample size, but still.
Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, he played a good amount of the season, and he looked better. He looked a lot better than whatever Trey Lance was.
Again, like, that's one of those things, like, if you're a good GM, you won't try to salvage Trey Lance. You just roll with Purdy, act like nothing happened.
You know what? If I was John Lynch, I would try to get rid of Trey Lance now when people's interest is still high.
Because I think they were trying to, but I think I saw reports to people where they were asking for too much from him. Because I think they were trying to recoup like a 1st-round pick. Like, you're never going to get that.
Maybe a 3rd, maybe a 2nd, not a 1st.
Not going to happen.
Not even a dumb team would like the Jets would do that.
I think they were trying to dump him to the Texans, but because of D'Amico Ryans.
That's right.
We're talking about new head coaches.
Yes, let's talk about some new hires. As you said, D'Amico Ryans is now on the Texans.
I'm like, I don't know.
Former player, I guess he has a soft spot for Houston. I don't blame him for going there. Will he be a good coach? Who knows?
It's also
roster's pretty bad.
Yeah, so like that's the thing too. Like he might take a couple years for you to start like building the team, assuming everything goes well. But the Texans like to fire people after a year, or two. So like if you don't get results immediately, you're probably gonna be thrown out the door.
Well, it's like they kind of learned but didn't learn from Bill O'Brien, where they let him linger and linger.
Well, they kept giving him more power, and he kept like using more power to make the team worse. Like it's funny, the more power he had, the worse the team got.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with that. Our boy Frank Reich is now on the Panthers.
Yes, I know. How'd the Colts let him go? I don't know how the Colts let him go. Watch the product on the field and you'll see why he got fired.
Frank Reich is not a good coach. Maybe, he's probably a good person. I know he's very charitable in the Indy area. I think he still has stuff going on there. But he always would have his team start off slow, dig themselves a hole, and they would have this late season resurgence, lose a crucial game at the end, and then screw themselves out of a good draft spot.
Yeah, it was like
that's the Frank Reich playbook. Every year he's been there except one, or really two, they had slow starts. Even with luck, they had a slow start. So good riddance to Frank Reich. It's going to be the same stuff in Panthers or in Charlotte. I don't care that he was their first quarterback to start in their franchise history. He's not a good coach.
Yeah, because I always see like media pundits saying
they love him.
Yeah, they love Frank Reich. How did the Colts let him go? I'm like, again, did you watch the games?
He was getting booed in his own stadium.
Yeah, Colts fans were sick of him. I don't get the love for him. Like, some coaches they get like a lot of love. Like someone like Mike Tomlin. Well, Mike Tomlin at least has some success to his name.
Not a losing season.
Yeah,
maybe a losing playoff record, but not a losing season.
But someone like Frank Reich, I just don't get it.
Yeah, them worshiping him in a way is just I don't get it either. The Colts got Shane Steichen, offensive coordinator for the Eagles, so they're just Eagles and Colts are just stealing coaches from each other. So
I mean, I think that's if you're gonna take one of the coaches from the Eagles, that's definitely the best one to take.
It's not Rich Gannon.
Jonathan Gannon.
Jonathan Gannon. It's definitely not that higher.
Well, that's bad for a number of reasons, because apparently he had a bad Super Bowl performance, but now we're finding out that maybe it's because the Cardinals offered him the job before they were supposed to, and he stopped preparing, or he was preparing for his interview. Like, he didn't prepare fully for the Super Bowl, and that's tampering charge. That's why the Eagles got the Cardinals pick, like, almost unannounced before the draft. They were trying to, like, throw that under the rug so people wouldn't find out that the Cardinals were tampering with the Eagles.
I did not know that.
Yeah, because that's like why the Eagles were kind of upset. Like, our coach wasn't preparing for the job he had. He was preparing for the job he wanted to get.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's scummy.
Yep.
Regardless, he's not he's dealt with a dumpster fire of a team right there. Cardinals are in a mess.
And I feel like roster-wise, like, there were the off-season, like, grades for, like, the players' grade, like, the off-season, or not the off-season, like, their team, facilities, and management.
Isn't it, like, really bad?
Yeah, I think they're bad, like, across the board. I think one of the few teams that actually charge players for meals.
That's terrible.
Like, you guys are billionaires, and, like, you can't, these players are your investment, and you can't, like, invest in their health and quality of food.
I guess not.
Yep. Wonder why they never win anything. Or even, like, make the playoffs. Like, you see, like, their playoff appearance, like, it's abysmal for how long they've been around.
Yeah, they're one of the oldest teams, and they haven't won a Super Bowl.
They're the oldest team.
They're the oldest team, okay. What other coaching hires have there been?
Well,
Eric Bieniemy, finally, is an assistant head coach and offensive coordinator on the Washington Commanders.
I don't know. I mean, I can imagine that Ron Rivera is, like, signing his own, like, death warrant in a way. Like, I imagine he's going to get fired probably after this year because the Commanders might get a new owner, might not. Probably will.
It's so strange how the Commanders are trying to be like, oh, we're this team that does all this really cool stuff, and then they're just kind of it's all like flash. It's all distraction. None of it matters.
Didn't they show off like their mascot?
Yeah,
like it was like no announcement. They showed up like on social media like half an hour. Like it was like so unannounced. Like their new mascot, the Sean Taylor tribute. Like
yeah, that was a disaster.
All this Dan Snyder stuff trying to get some goodwill with the fans before he was forced out.
It's just so weird. Like, okay, for one thing, for Bieniemy, it seems like the Chiefs have been trying to dump him. It just seems like that because everyone's like, "Oh, he's this hot coaching candidate,"
but no one wants him.
No one wants him. So either there's something that the NFL media refuses to let out, or I think that's what it is, because there's no way you get all these interviews and nobody wants you, especially if you're...
Most of the league has interviewed this guy for a head coaching job, and nobody has wanted him.
Yeah, especially if he was associated with Mahomes and Andy Reid, and nobody wants this guy. Like, he's doing something. He's either just bombing these interviews for whatever reason, or he's just not a good interview person. He's not an interviewee.
Even like you don't interview well. Like, I imagine, you might be able to win them over some other way. Because I can't imagine like every coach has gone in that's been like a great interviewer, right?
And maybe everybody knows that it's Andy Reid. It's not him.
We don't mean it, come on, team. Of course it's Andy Reid. Like, the guy's always had like great offense since he's been a head coach, even before that.
Yeah, there's something...
Because I don't know, like, look at the Andy Reid, people talk about like former Andy Reid coaches. Only one I know of has been successful, and that was Doug Peterson. Everyone else has been like a train wreck.
Matt Nagy came crawling back to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Just in time for that Super Bowl, too. Let's talk about the Bears. Not so much off-season moves, but how annoying they are in the sense that the NFL media loves to hype them up.
Well, because, they got Justin Fields. He's like a special talent. Like,
Justin Fields is not a good quarterback.
He's not now. Maybe, probably not, but maybe one day he might get good. But as of right now, he's terrible.
Yeah, as of right now, he is not good. I think people who think he's good only watch fantasy, and they're like, oh my god, he has this many points. Even though a lot of them are rushing yards. Like, all right, listen, it's cool you can run and break off a 70-yard run as a quarterback. That's cool, I guess, but that's not that's not sustainable. And two, he's not a good passer. It's one thing if he had, like, let's say Mahomes' accuracy, and then he was he's super fast.
Yeah, but he's not.
No, he is not accurate. I hear the weapons issue a lot, and that's like half true. He's not doing himself any favors, and if someone's really good, they can make what they have work.
I mean, you would at least look, because to me when I watch him, like, I feel like people are watching a completely different player. Like, I watch him, like, he's missing most of his throws. They're way off the mark. But then he'll run, like,
he'll break off a 70-yard run, and everybody will be like, forgive him for him missing the layups.
And it's not like he's got, like, a cannon for an arm like Mahomes or Josh Allen. Like, he's got an okay-ish arm from what I've seen. Not like I'm a scout or anything, but, like, compared to the other guys, or people, like, you can see why they would fall in love with, like, a prospect like Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. Much. Plus, like, Ohio State quarterbacks have, like, a terrible track record in the NFL.
That'd be true.
I'm not convinced.
Let's talk about the Bills real quick, and I guess we could talk about the draft, because these are just teams that annoy me for different reasons. The Bills, the reason why they annoy me so much is that they're the 2010 Steelers. I don't think they're going to win anything. Maybe. I'm not rooting against Buffalo. If they win a Super Bowl, I think that's pretty cool. But it's like they have this cheerleader head coach where he'll let some nonsense happen, just like the Steelers, where they let all these egos run around, and the team will implode.
To me, like, because again, like, we look at like all people like ranking the teams in the offseason, like the Bills are always like the number 2 team in the AFC. I'm like, well, how did they have the Bengals?
Yes, the Bengals actually went to Super Bowl.
They've been to actually multiple AFC Championship games in the same time frame as the Bills.
In a less time period.
Well, less, but I'm saying like the Bills have been around better for longer and only been to one.
Yes, that team is frustrating because it's just like the Steelers, where they have great talent on both sides of the ball, and they just squander it.
I haven't squandered too, but like, sometimes I feel like they don't even show up because they always have this like highly ranked defense, but
every defense never shows up.
But every time there's a big game, like, well, where's this great top 5 defense that's giving up 30 points a game?
Yeah, they don't. I think we were talking about earlier, Mike Florio trying to explain to this guy the difference between losing bad and not showing up.
Yeah, his low IQ friend.
Yeah, they just don't show up. Because at least their defense, for the most part, even their offense too. But their defense especially, yeah, it's just always this top-ranked unit, and they give up 30 points. They give up an 70-yard pass play against the Chiefs in that crazy.
Yeah, they give like a 70-yard to Tyreek Hill. They score in 13 seconds. They give like
40 yards,
50 yards for a
something
field
crazy. It's like, where's this defense?
Yeah. And it's not like, okay, well, you have an offensive, I'm using air quotes, offensive minded head coach, and they have a defensive minded head coach.
Yeah, Sean McDermott, he's a defensive guy.
And, like, well, you think the defense would be good. Like, Tony Dungy, right? You think the defense would be good, but it never is.
I think also the NFL media loves Josh Allen a little too much.
Well, because they'll love, like, the quarterbacks who can, like, sling at 80 yards, but, like,
I think he's a good quarterback, but he's another one where he'll just miss these easy throws. You're like...
Or turn the ball over. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, he makes boneheaded throws, too. And it's like, it's cool, you can sling it and all, but you're just doing dumb things.
You have to clean it up a bit.
I mean, he had a good 2020 season, and then after that, he's been throwing more and more picks. The wild card game against the Dolphins, a couple of his picks weren't his fault. Another one was. But just like this highly touted team, they barely beat the Dolphins, who are on their third stringer.
Yeah, like
how does that happen?
Like, that's why, when we're talking about, like, the AFC East, who's going to win it, like, the Dolphins are right in it. They almost beat the Bills with a third stringer. Imagine if Tua was not concussed. Maybe they would have won it.
If Tua didn't have a brain injury.
And we wasn't like, a string bean where they just, like, flop him when he has a concussion.
Yeah, he's like that inflatable at the car lot. But yeah, I think my Collins prediction is that the Bills, or this version of the Bills, are the 2010 Steelers.
At least they won't win it with Sean McDermott. Maybe if they fire him and get someone else. Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe. But I think he's winning enough to keep his job. It's not going to be like a Marty Schottenheimer where you go 14-2 and then you blow a game in the playoffs against the Patriots, even though you should have won that. That's not going to happen. I think the owner was just so mad that day when they lost.
That's why he always got, like, wait a bit. Because talking about, like, coaches who almost got fired in anger, Brandon Staley.
He's another one. He's somehow kept his job. I still
think they should have fired him.
I think he should have been fired also, but their offensive coordinator, whoever that guy was, I forget who it is.
Something Lombardi? Joe Lombardi?
He turned Justin Herbert into a checkdown warrior. Makes no sense. This guy has incredible arm talent, incredible accuracy, and it's just short screens the whole time.
Well, they hired,
They got the guy from Dallas.
Yeah, I forget his name.
Doesn't matter. They got that guy.
Who, I mean, just for the fact that he's not going to be hopefully having him check it down every play, they should be better.
They should, but Brandon Staley, I think he's owned by the NFL Next Gen Stats. They, like, control him. He just does the dumbest things.
Is he the first, like, team run by an AI?
I think so. I think Cynthia Freeland runs that team.
He's just like the puppet.
He just goes for it on the, like, what was it, against the Chargers? Or no, not the Chargers. Against the Cardinals last year. He went for 2 when they had everything to win, or like everything to lose if they didn't get that. And the Cardinals weren't playing. I mean, they still got it, right? They still got it. But it's like, why are you putting yourself in that situation?
I think it was funny. I think it was the Browns game where they somehow won that game. But, like, Eva was a Keenan Allen sitting at home like, bro, what are we doing?
He should have been fired. I think there's special circumstances to fire a head coach. If they're just being an idiot like him, I think you have to get rid of him because he's not going to wisen up. He's not going to get any better.
He's only wisening up because he's like, well, I'm going to get fired if I keep messing up, so I should maybe cut back. Not because he thinks, well, this isn't working, let's try something different. I think it's almost like self-preservation, not the need to do better. Like, some coaches make a mistake and they learn. He's not really learning. He's just
no,
like,
he hasn't learned at all.
He's like, well, maybe if I maybe shift the blame, I can keep my job for another year.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other teams besides the one we mentioned, but those teams are frustrating. Not the Bears. I don't care about them, but just the Bills.
Bears are just like the hype for a team that has done nothing. I mean, they were the number 1 overall pick last year. When people were predicting like win the division, win the NFC, I'm like, did we watch the same team?
I think it's just. I mean, I don't think the Bills will ever reach the full level of frustratingness as the Steelers did, but it's just they're squandering talent. They don't show up. The Bengals just smacked them around. They pimp slapped them pretty much in their own stadium.
Also, like, I know, like, Talk about the class of the AFC, but you have to put obviously Chiefs number one. They've been running it.
But the Bengals are number 2. I don't care what anyone says.
I think you have to. I mean,
they almost beat the Chiefs again. They could have beaten them. They just, they didn't.
Yeah, the one guy pushed him out of bounds.
That guy shoved Mahomes out of bounds and spotted 15 yards.
Because people aren't even giving the Bengals the respect I think they deserve. They're not even. Some people are predicting the Ravens or the Browns or the Steelers to take the division over the Bengals. How?
That game also where DeMar Hamlin essentially died. That screwed the Bengals over the most out of all those teams. Yeah, and then the NFL's trying to do that ridiculous neutral host thing.
Yeah, thank God they got rid of
that. Ridiculous. Absolutely crazy that they're even trying to pull that in the middle of the season, no less.
Well, that's why, I'm so happy for that Bengals to win that game because it killed any potential for that. Because people are saying the NFL wants this to happen because they want it to be like college where no more small market teams hosting big games. They hate the fact that if the Bengals ever host an AFC Championship, the Chiefs hosting it, they hate that. They don't want small markets doing that. They want big markets. They want the new stadiums like Atlanta, packing all the people, make sure the rich celebrities get in there. They don't want small market actual home crowds there, which sickens me.
It is pretty bad. Goodell has to go.
He'll never go because they say, we make money. And, that's why when some people want Jeff Bezos to become an owner because they think all the power he brings. Well, he's gonna make it into a business, not like a sport anymore. It's how much that's what we're talking about the kickoff rule. They're not doing it to make the game better or safer. They're doing it so people don't get hurt, so you can stay on the field and keep the profits going. You don't sue us for your concussion problems.
Let's talk about the draft now.
Well, just because they're not trying to, it's not a sport anymore, these people, it's a business. They're trying to use all the science and AI numbers to make it extract as much money from it, and they don't care what football turns into.
So the Panthers had the first overall pick. No, I agree.
No, it's true, because that's why they're trying to get rid of the kickoff.
Well, yeah, I know.
And the other thing they did, the Thursday night flexing, John Marrow's this is so disrespectful to our fans. How can you say I care about the fans and pass this rule? Because clearly you don't. And Goodell's of course we care about the fans. And John Mayer's no, you don't. You can't say that and screw them over on their travel plans.
Yeah, it's another bad rule. They also are able to flex Monday night games now.
Yeah.
They never able to do that before. Because the NFL was probably just furious with all the Broncos games.
Well, it's also part of the problem. You have so many primetime games. If you cut down, Monday night and Sunday night, you wouldn't have this issue. But it was Thursday night, now they want a Black Friday game.
I think a problem is, and then we'll get to the draft. Because you just love talking about Jeff Bezos, apparently. Yeah.
Well, no, because they want people like Jeff Bezos who will, analyze the games. We can extract more profit by making this.
The problem is with the primetime games, real quick, is that they give too many of the same teams multiple primetime games. You wouldn't have to suffer watching the Broncos on primetime games if they didn't have 6 or whatever, 5. Something crazy. They had 4 in the first 6 weeks.
Yeah. If
you don't have that problem, then, just let other teams have primetime games. Don't have the same... I hate seeing Dallas 5, 6 times a year on the Thursday night, Monday night, Sunday night.
I mean, I hate to say this, but at least the Cowboys games are at least entertaining. I mean, not the Broncos, where it was oh my god, watching is the most painful thing you can imagine. That Broncos-Niners game last year, oh.
Yeah, that's true. That's pretty bad.
Well, speaking of the Broncos, they got Sean Payton.
Oh, yes, I forgot about that. I honestly...
Yes, the Hackett era is over.
He left, he skipped out of town as soon as the Saints were having cap problems, and now he's back.
Yeah, what a scummy thing to do.
Sean Payton doing a scummy thing? I never heard of that.
It's funny, too, because Sean McVay wanted to do that, but I don't think he wanted to be seen as, that guy who ran out of town, so that's why he's staying with the Rams. He's I'm not going to be the guy who quits on the team in the moment they start doing that.
Even though he wanted to do that.
He wanted to, but he didn't do it, so I'll give him credit for that. He didn't do it. Sean Payton did. Yeah, I mean...
So let's, I guess, transition to the draft for a little bit. It was, for a couple weeks, no one knew who the first overall pick was. Everyone was saying Bryce Young was the most pro-ready, I guess you could say, but he's the size of Spider-Man. He's the size of Tom Holland, essentially. There's this one photo. I wish we could show it, but probably get copy strike.
No, you could show it.
All right.
Do you remember what I edited in?
I don't know how long we've been recording. But the point is, it shows all the NFL like linemen for the Panthers, and they're all massive human beings. And there's just Bryce Young who's up to their nipples with his helmet on. And it's like, you don't want to make fun of the guy's height, but in the NFL world,
you can't control it, but
yeah, we're not going to diminish him for his height. But in the NFL world, that does matter as a quarterback. Very seldom do those small guys pan out. Drew Brees is like 6 foot. Russell Wilson's like 5'11". Kyler Murray's like 5'10".
Yeah. I do think it's always funny like watching Drew Brees highlights. Like he's like standing on his tip of his toes.
Yeah, his head is always like up too.
Yeah, trying to get the most height he can get.
But for Bryce Young though, it's not only how tall he is it's how much he weighs. I think he's under 200 pounds. I think he's like 180 or like 189, 190-ish. I could be wrong.
Especially after we see like what happened with Tua. Like that's why.
Well, I think Tua's problem is he just doesn't know how to take the hit. He just ragdolls. But like, he tries to fight it too much. You kind of have to ragdoll a little bit.
But also too, I feel like it's easy to ragdoll somebody when they weigh so little. Like if he was a little heavier,
yeah.
We couldn't like flip him around like that. Like toss him like a toy.
He's just so petite, I guess you could say. He's a
quarterback, petite football player.
He doesn't, imagine Aaron Donald throwing. I think Aaron Donald could like hurl him in the air.
He would actually give him like permanent brain damage if he slammed them.
Yeah, so I guess we'll only talk about the more exciting picks of the first round because I didn't really watch the draft after that.
Talk about exciting. Look who the Eagles got. The guy who killed somebody.
Well, not even that. That is pretty exciting. So after the Panthers drafted Bryce Young. Then the Texans were up. They got some D lineman, I believe.
I think it was outside
linebacker. And then they traded for the third pick. And they got C.J. Stroud. Ohio State quarterback, who are Craig's favorites, by the way. Apparently, so let's quickly talk about that new test they take. They don't take the Wonder Look anymore. Because I think that just makes people look stupid and makes them feel bad.
Oh, yeah, because it was more like a general IQ test.
Yeah. So now they have this test that is more like curated for NFL quarterbacks. It's meant more to test their ability to read stuff and dissect plays and whatnot. Yeah, I don't know what's on the test. It's something like that.
Well, because I think, whatever me and Dan were looking at, I think it was like the test supposed to see how well you can like analyze, like read and react to defenses, and like how well you can, basically physical, like athletic intelligence, basically.
Yeah, keep talking.
Well, that's what the test was, like basically testing your athletic intelligence. Because some people would say with the Wonderlic, some of the questions, how to relate to football, like who cares about a high IQ? As long as you can, catch the ball and run fast, who cares?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find his score. He got basically C.J. Stroud scored really, really bad.
Yes, and because people were saying like that was a red flag because that test, well, if you do well, it doesn't necessarily mean you will do well in the NFL, but if you do bad, it's pretty much guaranteed to predict failure in the NFL.
Yeah, it's not like the test asks you arbitrary things. Like, oh, what's the science
What's the capital
equation?
of Assyria?
Yeah. It is stuff, as you said, that is meant for quarterbacks.
I don't know what's in it, but that's what they advertise.
I'm trying to find his score. I think it was like the 17, it was like 20. It was something really, really, almost comically bad. I can't find it.
Well, the best part too is his coping was, well, I don't take tests. I play football. Like, look at the tape, and it's like, well, there's more than just the tape when it comes to playing in the NFL. Like college is a much different game.
Because I think Bryce Young scored very, very high. It was almost perfect, I believe.
Yeah,
it was in the 90s something. Will Levis scored really high.
Even
Richardson scored a 79.
Which I think was average or above average.
And then there's him, where it's just... it's bothering me. I want to say it's a 17 or a 20.
The 17 sounds right.
Hold on. I'm going to do one last ditch effort to try.
But yes, so... Because I think we looked on the website, and they said they gave the test to Brock Purdy, and Brock Purdy's results were really high. That's why he was able to do so well so quickly.
Yeah, I can't find it.
I mean, again, I haven't looked. I don't know about the history of the test. Probably knows. People in the front offices know more, but from what a layman knows, apparently
all
he's
I
not
know is
well.
that all of his agents. 18.
Oh.
It's called the S2 cognition test. And I guess he said, yeah, I'm a football player, not an S2 taker. Kind of misses the point, ironically, his response, you would expect his response to be someone who scored an 18. You expect it to come from that.
Because even then, like, for the draft, you're preparing for these
tests.
You're also preparing for these tests. Like, I don't know what he's talking about. Like, I'm not a test taker. Like, well, all the tests to prepare for, this is the one test you prepare for. Like, who cares you have, like, a 2.0 GPA in college? Well, yeah, your degree doesn't matter, but you're being passed all your classes anyway.
Yeah, so going back on that, Bryce Young scored a 98, Will Levis got a 96, Anthony Richardson got a 79, and Hendon Hooker got a 46, and then Stroud had an 18. Really concerning. I think that actually hurt his draft stock, because everybody thought he would be the first overall pick. Because he's like the prototypical size, I guess you could say.
But not up there where it matters. Up in the head.
Yeah, just hamster wheels going on in that, I guess. So then with the fourth pick, the Colts drafted Anthony Richardson, which I'm very ambivalent about. I'm not rooting against this guy.
Wait, you and Dana were not too happy.
Yes. It's just, historically those kind of quarterbacks who are projects don't really work out. And I know Ballard's buying himself time because I think he should have been fired last year. He should have been, I hate that man so much. But now he's bought himself at least 2 years. Because if Anthony Richardson doesn't pan out, he is a goner. Ballard is gone.
I mean, I guess they probably hired one of the better guys to at least oversee the project.
Yes.
With Shane Steichen.
Yes. He is a project, and I don't care how physically gifted he is.
Just be accurate.
Yeah, apparently his combine, he was really good in it, but he's good in like the 3-cone drills or whatever. Like the stuff that doesn't really matter as a quarterback.
He's the fastest guy in the field, but it's like, who cares?
Yeah, he is an athletic freak. I think he's like one of the most freakish athletes ever at the combine. Does that translate well to the quarterback? Usually never.
Maybe.
Usually never. Like Michael Vick, everyone talks about how much of a freakish athlete he was. The guy couldn't hit the side of a house. Michael Vick was very bad.
At least with the Falcons. He got better with the Eagles, but it wasn't able to sustain the success.
And he couldn't just stay healthy, and he couldn't stop killing dogs. But, you want to be optimistic, but...
You also want to set yourself up for disappointment.
Yeah, he seems definitely more... Not as, I don't know, I feel like CJ Stroud just seems like, oh, I'm so good, I could just go in and I can learn all this stuff. He doesn't seem like he's going to put in the effort. It seems like this guy, Richardson, wants to put in the effort.
Which at least is a good sign,
Yeah. Seems like he actually cares. I don't know, it just seems like to me CJ Stroud just doesn't really care. Especially his response with that whole S2 test. SJ2, whatever it's called.
Copen and Seeding.
Other than that, Will Levis, he dropped to the second round. He was drafted by the Titans.
Another quarterback taken by the Titans.
Another quarterback taken by the Titans, which makes you really wonder how they really feel about that guy from last year, whose name is slipping my mind. Malik Willis.
Yeah, well, he's done. Well, he was done when they brought in Josh Dobbs off the streets to start.
Yeah. Shows you what they really think of him. Another project guy that apparently everyone's like, oh, he's really good. He's like an athletic freak. Exhibit A.
Also, too, I think Mike Vrabel was very unhappy with the pick because that was the GM who traded away AJ Brown, who got fired.
Yes.
And I think Mike Vrabel hated him. Remember, it was Pat McAfee. Apparently the GM was crying. Mike Vrabel looked disgusted next to him. What are you crying for? Yeah, but Mike Vrabel, hopefully he got his quarterback. Hopefully he's happier with his GM who's not crying all the time.
And not trading away good players and trying to get these, Walmart movie store bin quality players.
Because even, the guy they got with Treylon Burks, right? Maybe he's good, but, AJ Brown was good.
Yeah.
You have to pay these guys.
Yeah, you can't just sit on your hands and...
Well, because, I like this in the Mike Florio, because he's smarter than most pundits. And he was saying, the draft is like a lottery ticket. When you win, you should try to hold on to your winnings. Don't trade away your winnings for another lottery ticket. It's not smart. If you've got a great player, you try to hold on to them.
Yeah.
Like, you know, unless they become like a basket case, you know, but most of the time you try to keep them. Like, A.J. Brown was not a basket case. He was just wanted a contract extension.
Yeah, and he played really well at the Eagles, too. Almost won a Super Bowl.
Thank God they didn't.
Yeah. Trying to think of other big day things. Like, the round one was crazy. Like, all these new quarterbacks getting drafted.
I don't know. Like, and then, you know, the NFL, you know, it's just to hype it up, like, all this next generation of quarterbacks, and maybe only one or two will actually be good, or...
Yeah.
You know what it is. Like, every year it's like, oh, these new quarterbacks, and most never really work out.
Yes, but it remains to be seen. That's all we could do is just wait.
Oh, yeah, I'm just saying, like, historically. Remember,
No,
like...
I know.
Like, Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota were hyped up. Oh, my God, they're so good, and then they're both terrible.
Jared Goff and Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Mitch Trubisky.
At least Mitch can say he never had 23 lawsuits against him.
That's true. Don't forget Baker and Sam Darnold. That 1 year. What a terrible class that looks like now. Because at least you could say, like, Carson Wentz was playing at an MVP level at one point for a season.
And he had some good years, too.
Yeah. Jared Goff played well in his system. He made it to a Super Bowl. Carson Wentz won a Super Bowl. I'm just saying, like, people want to clown on the 2016 class for those two picks. 2018 one is so much worse.
Can't ditch the Mitch.
Mitch wasn't in that class.
I thought he was. Oh, no, you're right. He was 27. Yeah.
2018 is the Baker, the Josh Rosen, the Sam Darnold. That class might be one of the worst ever.
And the Giants were done for taking Saquon.
Sam Darnold is so bad. Change of scenery won't change how bad you are. I don't even know what happened to Baker. Like, he just, all of his commercials just, I guess, got to his head and he just started playing really bad.
Well, because his last year with the Browns, he hurt his shoulder and wouldn't, like, heal it. Like, he lost, I guess, I don't know.
He refused to, like, just sit out and get healthy.
Yeah, he wanted to start. And also, it's part of it's also on the head coach. Like, you know, if he's hurt, just you have the final say. I don't know why you're being bullied by this idiotic quarterback.
Yeah, this man-child.
Yeah. Like, tell him, no, you were sitting out. You were not healthy.
Imagine Belichick would just be like, no, you're done. Sit down.
Let's see, like, other big news. You know, Lamar.
Oh, Lamar finally got his contract.
His drama. Because he wanted to be the highest paid quarterback in NFL history.
And he's representing himself.
Yeah, and I forgot the deal he got, but I don't think he got everything he wanted because...
It's not even fully guaranteed.
Yeah. Because he wanted more guaranteed money than Weinstein. I mean, Watson. Freudian slip.
Yeah, I guess, is there anything other topic? Then I guess we'll finish with Lamar. Just to wrap it up a little bit. There's Lamar and what else?
I mean, Odell, if we want to talk about Odell.
I don't really care for Odell. He doesn't deserve the attention.
The crashing of the running back market.
I guess we'll end with that. Let's talk about Lamar real quick. He doesn't have the leverage again that he thinks he does. Yes, he has an MVP, but he can't stay... I want to bless you, but I don't. Yeah. He can't stay healthy.
Because the best part too is I've talked to Ravens fans. They'll say, "Well, oh, he's only got hurt when he was passing." Like, well, he still got hurt. I don't care if he doesn't get hurt while he's running. He still gets hurt.
Listen, you're not going to.
And he wants to be more of a passer.
You're not going to see the impacts of his running immediately. It's like Cam. He'll play a couple years, like maybe 5 years, and then all of a sudden it'll just hit him like a truck. Like when he was on his last year with the Panthers and even the Patriots, he just looked washed up. Like he looked like a shell of himself running.
Well, we'll talk about Cam. He keeps saying like he's mad that he can't get a job in the NFL.
Oh, shut up, Cam. You had your chance. But Lamar also said something hilarious, and that was he wants to throw for 6,000 yards in a season. And it's like, Lamar, get to 4,000. Get to 3,500 first. Get to 4,000.
I'm not sure. I mean, obviously 6,000 is out of this league, but like I'm not even sure he could ever hit like 4,500.
No, he probably can't even hit 4,000.
We'll see. Maybe he gets lucky one year. And maybe they expand to 18 games.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Lamar is a clown.
Well, the best part, too, was, like, all the people he was surrounding himself with who were like, yeah, don't be pro-age. Or, like, people were saying, like, you should get an agent that would help you. Like, Everyone's like, oh, just get an agent. It'll probably make this process much smoother. Like, oh, what are you, pro agent? What are you trying to screw these guys out of like a few $1,000,000? I'm like, well, literally everybody has an agent, except like, at least every quarterback has an agent.
Yeah.
Because not even just the contract. He has like no commercials. He has like no others like opportunities like all these other guys.
Agents work that out.
Yeah, you have to take a 2% or whatever, but it's like you have to look at the numbers. Okay, Lamar's not giving 2%, but he's getting paid like $100 million less. You're not actually saving money that way.
Yes, I know. Like, let's take someone like Gronk, who made so much more in commercials than ever in his playing career. And he made a good amount in his playing career.
Yeah.
A good agent can afford you those, possibilities. Plus, you have to be likable.
Like, but just like the agents already have the connections, they can help you speed that process along.
Yes.
Like, without an agent, like, unless you're not playing, like, unless you're like a kicker, you may not need an agent. But a quarterback absolutely should, because they can milk that for all, like how many commercials Brady or Peyton were in, or I guess Josh Allen's in, or Mahomes are in, or Rodgers. All of them have agents. Like, it's not like they act like, oh, you're pro agent. Like, we don't have agents. It's just we can see the reality of the situation.
So speaking of running backs, we were just talking about one without an agent.
Yep.
But you talk about the market for the running backs has crashed. Dalvin Cook just got released a couple days ago, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And no one's signing running backs to long-term lucrative deals anymore because they are kind of replaceable. Plus, everyone's going to that pass-heavy, not really needed anymore.
Yeah, they'll pass it 60 times a game. But also, too, like, because the way, they'll see it as, yeah, we can get a running back for 4 years, maybe fifth year with the fifth-year option, and then, within that time, we'll find someone new out of college just as good. Which is kind of sad, because how important the running back position has been historically. Like, people forget, like, about the running backs, there's no more fullbacks.
Yeah, fullbacks are gone. I think the Niners are the only team. Maybe the Raiders, or not Raiders, the Ravens too.
I don't know.
They have like that Picard guy. Maybe, I don't know. They used to have Vonta Leach, the Ravens.
Yeah. It's like, again, like dying positions, like if it's funny because I see like Mike Flores, like, yeah, if you have a child and the coaches be a running back, tell them absolutely not. Literally any other position but running back.
Yeah.
Because you won't get paid. You won't have a long career.
Austin Eckler's not getting paid.
Yeah, the Chargers were so mean. It was like, I will trade me. All right, go ahead. Find someone to trade. Go ahead. Let's go search on the market. And no one wanted to trade for Eckler.
It's a shame, too. Like, he definitely does the most out of all the running backs for the most part. He catches more than he gets
like
rushes.
If you name look at the other running backs, look at the Chargers. Like, he's the best offensive skill player on the Chargers. And he's probably getting paid less than like all the other receivers.
Yeah. It's a sad world for the running backs. They're just getting abused and used.
Yeah, like Josh Jacobs. I don't know if he wants to sign it because they probably will just tag him once and like. Because I'm not sure they're going to give him a long-term extension. I think they're going to just say play in the franchise tag, suck it up, and then we'll ship you out of town.
Yeah.
Saquon, he got tagged, but he was dumb because he has. I know we're saying pro agent, but he's a bad agent because he was offered I think like $13 million per year for 3 years. Agent said turn it down. Now. The running back market crashed. I think he's asking for that, and the Giants have lowered the offer. Or maybe he's still asking for more, I'm not sure, but, like, they gotta work that out.
Yeah.
I've seen, like, Zeke got cut, Fatso.
No, no one cares about him. I think the moral of the story is, or this episode, is have a good agent.
Because a good agent will tell you don't play running back, literally play another position. Be a flanker.
Yeah, really. Literally anything but a running back, apparently.
It's a sad scene. That's what the NFL wants.
Do you have any other thoughts?
Also, don't gamble.
Don't gamble, yes. I don't want to get into that too much. Just NFL players being stupid and gambling.
But I don't know how you get confused. Like, the rules are pretty clear. You can't gamble. I think... Actually, I don't know what the rules are, but I'm assuming you can't be gambling any NFL game.
Yes.
If not, any sporting event. I think they can gamble sports, but I
just not on their own games.
Or any NFL game.
Yeah, just don't be stupid. Like, just don't gamble.
Well, it's funny too, because with the Colts guy, I think he was saying, "Yeah, I knew I did was wrong." I don't think he even tried to hide it. I think he just basically fessed up to it.
The idiot was betting on his own games.
Well, some people say, "Oh, I made a mistake. I made a mistake." And he's like, "Nah, man, I did it."
Yeah, he's just stupid. His career's over because, real quick, Roger Goodell or someone was saying, there's like a report I saw, they're going to try to get him suspended permanently. So it's like, were those...
What did he try? Goodell's judge, jury, executioner.
Yeah, were those $10, $15 bets you placed worth it?
That's like the kicker, too. It's not like they're placing that much money on games. It's just, they have like, I guess, an addiction, right? Because why else would you do that?
Yeah, they're just dumb.
Don't gamble. And don't play running back anymore.
Have a good agent. I think those are our takeaways from today's episode. Do you have any other final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Don't play for the Cardinals either.
Yes. I would agree so. Yeah, don't play for them. I guess
we'll be back for right before the end of the preseason or before the season starts.
Yeah.
Give our final rankings.
Well, we've been the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. I have been Colin.
I will be Craig.
And that's our episode.